Hey, my name's Sam. I've been working on some Udemy courses and I have a new one as well. But every once in a while, I like to sit back and play a game from Xbox Game Pass. This here is something I wouldn't have played just because the aesthetic isn't perfect for me, but finding it on Game Pass was cool. And I gave it a try already just for a brief minute or two, and then I wanted to shoot a video. So let's jump into it. This is Loop Hero. I'll choose a new slot, but skip the tutorial. All right, so in the game, you're a medieval knight and you go in a loop around a particular area. So I'll choose the campfire here first. I'll build that, and then I go on an expedition from that point. So obviously retro game look and feel. And what I think is cool about it is that there's a mixture between RPG elements and also some building elements. So my character's there. I just right click to pause him or right click to move him again. I can also change the speed of the game. So I have it going quite fast here, which is fine. Anytime I need to make a decision, it pauses it. As I go around the loop here, if I hit any enemies, then it goes into an RPG battle mode. And then the loot from that appears over here on the right. I place it and I continue. Let's give it a try. So character automatically battles as he comes across different people. These are some bubble blob dudes. And each time a battle ends, I can take some of these elements and I can place them around. So this is the interesting kind of base building mechanic. So I can use the materials that I get and place them around here, meadows, rocks, mountains, different stuff like that. And I'm not sure exactly what the strategy is there, but I think if you group them together, it gives you some bonuses. Then I can also do things that are clearly beneficial, like adding lighthouses or lamps around the map so that it allows me to see enemies or avoid enemies and things like that. So I continue going around the loop as it's the loop hero. And each time that I win a battle, it gives me those cards at the bottom, which I talked about. And then over here, it gives me the chance to take some of these elements and place them into slots. So when they're here in the middle area, that's not in use yet. And then when I hover over it, it'll tell me how that compares to what I currently have selected. So you can have one, let's see what they are, one weapon, one ring, shields, armor, boots, etc. And I believe that in this part, when you're battling, that's all that it helps. So let's continue to lay out our stuff. I'm going to put them far apart so that I can group them together. This is a spider cocoon. So I don't know why you would place this. This seems like it's going to be an enemy, but let's go ahead and place it. So now I'm cruising right by the spider cocoon. So Vampire Mansion, I've gotten this one in my demo game earlier. So let's place it there. It shows kind of an area of effect. The beacon I've had before too. So if I put that down, it gives me movement, range, and attack speed. And then all I'm doing as I'm a newbie is I'm putting the mountains together and putting the meadows together. So here I've got some new stuff. I got armor. And I've run into this before where eventually this middle area will become overstuffed with items. And I don't see a way that I can delete them. Right-clicking. I don't know what that's doing. Is that marking that I want to lock them? Okay, let's keep going. Now, because I'd laid down the vampire's castle, then every time I loop around, you run into the vampire. And he's not a good guy. I fought him before. So when you have multiple enemies, it, again, automatically battles. But you can see in this game, there's a lot of different systems going on. So it reminds me of some old school games that used to mix genres much more than we see games do today. So here there's the kind of world building mechanic. And every time you go around the loop, those mountains and meadows and other elements help buff your character out. And then after each battle, clearly we're getting some items that we can immediately use that feels a bit more familiar. But you can imagine in this game, there's a lot of different systems here. There's the inventory that you're using. There's the inventory you haven't yet placed. There's the world building mechanic. Then there's a kind of a new view into the experience every time you go into a battle. So I wanted to talk for a minute about the courses that I've created for Udemy that you can take advantage of. So for those of you who are Unity game developers, I created this course about MVC architecture. So when your game spawns out lots of different views into the same data structure, so you have views of what does the inventory look like, you have views into what does the battling look like, you have views into what is the world map that you're going around. All of those different visuals that all have the same data behind it, that's a great case for when you can use the model view controller. Other than creating individual copies of that data and spreading it around through your game, as a beginner and intermediate developer, you may not be sure how to organize a project like that. What you do here is with the model, you store all your data. With the views, you have windows into the visuals of those data. And then you have controllers that do things like handle the user input and do business logic for, what is the game and how does the individual inventory affect your character's buffs and stuff like that. So that is the M, V, and C in MVCS. So this project is a great place for you to get started in seeing how you'd organize a game like this and how you'd be able to separate the different types of genres and different gameplay. The other course that I have on Udemy right now, which for both of these, the links are below, you can take a look at something this game doesn't have much of, but game physics. So how would you have a game like Angry Birds in a 2D physics simulation where your gameplay depends on the emergent behavior and the emergent outcomes from different physics interactions, like joints in 2D and 3D, physics in 2D and 3D. And then I also have this Marble Madness 3D clone game, which is a remake of an earlier 80s game classic. So you get to see in this course some of the fundamentals about Unity, some of the fundamentals about Unity's physics in 2D, in 3D, and then C# entry points. And then there's 2 complete sample games, one in 2D, one in 3D for you to check out. All the source code for both of these courses is available in the course, and you can check out more information about them below, see the trailers for them, and jump in and start learning. Let's jump back into the game here. So I'm just going to explore the menus a little bit because I hadn't done that before. So here I can see the different resources that I've got. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. Here's returning to the camp. Let's see what happens when I do that. So I'm going to retreat. I come back here, and this is kind of the map over the map. So remember when I talked about having different views into the data, you would be able to render what each of these worlds looks like in the map view, and then being able to step back and see each of them represented on this kind of over map. All right, let's go on an exhibition again. Expedition. So here's all the different stuff that I've earned in the deck building menu. We can take a look at some of the details of them. So like the spider cocoon, I wasn't sure why I would want to do that. It spawns a spider every day, but when I did this equivalent and had the vampire castle spawn a vampire, the vampire fought me. So maybe the spider fights the enemies, I'm not sure. No, it looks kind of similar here. I didn't feel like I had to place them either. Let's give it one more try in the gameplay. So I've already played more here than I had before rolling the camera, but I can see that it's a single player experience, me as a player. I only have one character in my party. I'm not sure if it's possible to grow that out, but definitely getting expansive amounts of different enemies and different environments, switching between that overworld and then the loop and going around. Some of the buffs that I get from laying these items out and putting in the world, the meadows, the spider cocoon I'm not sure about, but the mountains, the rocks and stuff like that, each loop around the character gets buffed by that. And I'm not sure how and when you would win each one of these each one of these sub levels. But that would be interesting too. So the last thing I'll lay out is this lantern. And if I place it right here, being a way to just maximize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of road that it would light up, I think that gives, well, that says 5% chance of spawning a slime once a day. So maybe, I'm just guessing here, but maybe the idea is like without enemies, your hero can't grow. So you actually need to place these obstacles in his path in order to buff out your character. It seems a bit odd that you're both purposely challenging your character, but if I'm right, that could be some interesting gameplay for it for sure. So I'll end there. Thanks again for checking out the game. The links for both of the courses are below. And I'm also teasing the next course that I'm going to be doing is going to be based on combining Unity with OpenAI with its technologies of ChatGPT and DALL-E for image generation. So stay tuned, like this here, and follow and see more about the AI. I'm posting videos this month, next month. The course is probably going to come out pretty soon. Thanks.